Hello and welcome to a brand new series on my channel looking at 90s icons. I'll be picking some of my favourite figures from movies, TV and music and dissecting one of their most recognised looks or trends. First up, it's Courtney Love. Live Through This was one of my favourite albums in the 90s. It was the second studio album by Hole and was released a week after the tragic death of Kurt. I loved every song on the album, but the track I played over and over was Miss World. The album has so many lyrics that call out to a girl finding her way in the world. I vividly remember watching Courtney play Glastonbury about 5 years later in a pink ensemble featuring wings, sequined shorts and sparkling fishnets, and thinking how I wanted to start a band. In fact, Hole's bass tabs were some of the first I ever started to learn. So on Saturday I tweeted out that I'd be making a video about Courtney because I just had my first glimpse of her collection for Nasty Girl and it instantly brought me back to my teens. This range concentrates on her underwear as outerwear look, a trend that I embraced a bit too wholeheartedly. In fact, it led to a slight addiction to eBay. I would constantly be on the hunt for beautiful silk and lace vintage camisoles and slips on the auction site, as well as car boot sales and charity shops. But at least it was more feminine than some of the trends I was embracing at the time. So let's talk about this anticipated collection. As the brand Sophie and Marissa told Vogue.com, I can't think of anyone more iconic, and she's not someone who really lends her name to all kinds of products, so it feels really special. Love mirrored the sentiment, saying that I wasn't going to be on it if it wasn't a real collaboration, so it really is. And you really can tell. The designs were created having gone through Courtney's photo archives and the pieces she'd saved. Apparently it's the 90s rock star but in a modern context with a few added extras. As well as the much-loved baby dolls, there had to be some 90s crops. These are ideal for layering. A couple nod to Victoriana and Bohemian and hippie style. Incorporating a choker into a slip, can you nod to the 90s in a more appropriate way? Love it. As well as the traditional white, cream and black lingerie style pieces, we have pinks and blues. An addition I'm pleased about, as you'll find ample examples of Courtney embracing candy colours. No one can juxtapose cute and grunge as well as Courtney. We all know how swapping granny pants to some sexy lacy knickers can immediately make you feel a bit more sexy. Probably should make a purchase of these beauties. I've always loved combining faux fur with silk items or toughening slips up with boyish flannels, leather and clunky shoes. This piece makes me want to start a band immediately. How stunning is this lace kimono? Just look at the detail and those flared sleeves. Love the dangling doodads, as Courtney calls them. Shoe-wise, you can go for the cutesy childlike Mary Janes with the sparkling heel, which just screams doll parts to me. Then there's the black sexy mesh stilettos, which are the overtly racy option. The pieces range from $48 to $188. From reading interviews and watching her only beauty tutorial, she was a big fan of quality skincare. She said something about going to a dermatologist to try and get the pus out of her face, something which I can fully relate to. I filmed this during my time of the month, so my chin was a mess of the stuff. I added some paler foundation to my usual routine, as Courtney is a bit paler than me and it helps to give that grungy look. You don't really think of sun-kissed when you think of grunge. From scanning various images of Courtney over the years, I noticed she didn't often add blush to the apple of her cheeks. It was mainly on the edges of the cheek, and she often used a very pink shade of the blush, which isn't really showing up on this camera. Brows don't need to look natural, thin and harsh is what we want here. Rather than the usual orange and red toned eyeshadows for a grungy look, I found quite a few images where she used browns and taupes around the eyes. I used a darker brown from the same palette in the crease of my eyes. Blend and blend, but don't worry too much. Messy is absolutely fine. Courtney's doe eyes are one of her most recognisable features. Sadly, I have tiny little peepers, so I created the illusion of larger eyes using white liner. I noticed she often didn't line the waterline, it was just under the lash line instead. Mascara. The good thing about grungy looks is that it doesn't matter if you make a mistake or are rubbish at blending like me. I went for kohl so I could get that lived-in smudged look. Curl the lashes to open your eye up a bit more. I was surprised to find that her lips weren't always matte in a lot of her images. Her reds often had a tinge of brown and orange to them too. She does sport nudes and feminine pinks too, but I wanted to go dramatic and fully out of my comfort zone. I added orange gloss to the middle of my lips to make it look like they'd been lined. I was surprised to see from her only ever beauty tutorial that she added shimmer to her cheeks, not something you associate with a predominantly matte 90s look. Smudge those eyes so it looks like you've been out all night and in yesterday's makeup. We want that wild child aesthetic, not pretty and polished this time. Courtney's had various hair looks over the years: peroxide bluntness, sleek and groomed, soft and feminine, boho waves and crimps. I just wanted to add texture and allow some of my natural waves in. I lightened it a tad with some dry shampoo. I couldn't find my tiara, but incorporated some sparkle via this headband from Debenhams, inspired by this look. Courtney made a few films in 1996, meaning she had numerous red carpet appearances in 97. The People vs. Larry Flynt received award recognition, as did Courtney's performance. I remember being hugely excited to see what she was going to wear to events like the Golden Globes. She generally veered towards Versace. She managed to be occasion appropriate while maintaining her own personal style. So that's my brief tribute to Courtney Love's style, concentrating on her underwear as outerwear trend, a look copied by many high-end designers till this day. Subscribe so you don't miss my next 90s icon.